Hello and welcome to the Habit Architect. My name is Michael Cupp. So sorry for the late start. We just had a little technical thing we needed to get through, but we're happy to be live now. Today it's a great guest. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. And we've talked a lot in past episodes about tying your habit building to values. And if you don't anchor those habits, they tend to be just something that you're trying to do on the side, and they lose priority. But when you find somebody that actually does tie their habits to their values, you actually see them excel. And that's what I'm really excited about talking with Leslie about today, because she runs a community called Wednesday Women, and she's going to tell you all about that in a little bit. But when you watch the way she interacts with her members and the way that she carries herself, you can tell that the habits she has as a community manager carry over based on her values, which is she's living her authentic self. And that's what I really encourage people to do when you're thinking about building habits, especially as we look at January 1st coming in a few weeks. Those people are going to start new resolutions. And if you want them to stick, you really need to tie them to your values. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about empowering women. We're going to talk about ADHD and family. We got a lot of topics to cover. So Flora, why don't we bring Leslie online and we'll get her introduced. And while we're doing that, I just want to remind everybody, timebandit.io. This month, we're doing a cyber sale for the bundled training, so you can learn how to assess your hierarchy of values, link your habits to those values, prioritize, things like that. So do go out to timebandit.io, check out that training. And if you have a college student maybe that struggled last semester, or you want to just get ready for the new year, go take that bundled course. So we appreciate that. All right. Well, there she is. Hello, Leslie. How are you today?
You know, I'm in Seattle, and there's this thing called the atmospheric river, which I was like, I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, but there's been nothing but rain and gloom for the last 3 days. So I'm doing great. I've had coffee, and I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're in Dallas, right? Is where you reside?
I am from Dallas. So I'm like a sunshine and warm girl.
Yeah.
And I'm here in they say this is like not normal and extra rainy for Seattle. And I'm like, yeah, no, you're not convincing me to ever live here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I will tell you, I'm in Dallas and it's sunny. It's a little cool, but it's sunny, but no rain. So.
Oh, well, we need to meet for real coffee then.
Exactly. We can do this next time in person.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Well, great. I did see your LinkedIn post about your trip. It looks awesome. Are you having fun? Good trip?
I am. Yesterday was amazing. I had 2 coffees with women in the area, and then we have a nice set of members here. So we had a little dinner last night. We went to La Loba, which was a Spanish restaurant, and a whole bunch of things. So it was really nice. And then today, another coffee, and, just get me out in the community and let me network. I hate the word network, but let me community with people and hear them and listen to them. And, I feel like I'm with great friends already.
Exactly. Just looking at your posts and things like that, I can tell that this is what you love to do. So why don't you tell everybody about it? Tell us about Leslie.
Yeah. Well, anytime people ask me this, even in interviews, I'm going to tell you first, I'm a mom of 3 kids. They're not kids anymore. They're all adults. They're all, one of them is, not on payroll, but 2 of them are still fully on payroll in college. I have been an entrepreneur 3 times now. I've never worked at a company over the size of 250 people, and I felt like that was horrible and the worst bureaucracy I've ever seen. I am definitely an entrepreneur by heart. I love to build things with gum, duct tape, and spit.
Yeah.
And and a Google Sheet. If you give me a Google Sheet, I'm definitely good. Yeah. And I'm from the Midwest. So I'm from Indiana, but we've continually moved south, and I love sunshine and warm weather.
Well, tell us about Wednesday Women. Why don't we get that at least out on the open, so when you refer to the community, we'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's so funny because when you say the word community, people have so many different interpretations of what community is. It's like saying the word Kleenex. It's really tissues, and there are 75 different types of tissues, and some are nice and plush and beautiful, and some are scratchy and are going to make your nose bleed.
Exactly.
Yes. So Wednesday Women, we started actually just as a single post, me saying, who are the women CEOs I should know because my feed is desolate. Yeah. And that turned into a Google Sheet, funny enough. And then I would just, as I saw more posts, I would have the Fiverr guy add to the Google Sheet, and I would just drop it around to other people who ask the same questions. It's like when you buy a white car, you see all the white cars.
Yeah.
And I met my co-founder, Melissa Moody, who lives in Anchorage. Speaking of cold, and
Wow.
if it
Yeah.
was -5 and it's snowing and all the things, I would never live
Yes.
there either.
Yes.
We basically got on a call. She's like, "What are you going to do with this Google sheet?" I'm like, "I don't know. I was just making a Google sheet. Like that's what I was doing." And she's like, "Well, what if we did one thing? What if we made a post about one woman a week and we shine the spotlight on her?" And I'm like, "Okay, great." So we opened up a LinkedIn business page with no business. It was a
Yeah.
passion project. We both had kids at home. This was just outside of our full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And we made those one post a week. We decided we'd do it on Wednesday, and that's why we're called Wednesday Women. One of our board members is like, "Do you think that Wednesday Women still serves the brand?" I'm like, "No, that is not the right name, but that's the name. So that's what it's going to be."
Yeah.
Then 10,000 organic followers later in
Wow.
14 months, partners, our first partner came to us. We had to become a business. Melissa and I never even met before.
Yeah.
And then, and then then people, what we did was we created, and this is something both she had done at her previous startup and I had done with a previous community and my work, is we created a bunch of raving fans. People would say, "I'm a member of Wednesday Women. I want to be," our first dinner, someone said, "I want to be the chapter head of Wednesday Women in San Francisco." This was early 2024. I'm like, "Dude, I've not even written a newsletter yet. There's nothing to be a chapter head of."
Yeah.
And we even have a talk about how to build community without building community, making people feel part of something, having them
Right.
attached to your brand. And that's what happened. And after 100 DMs saying, "How do I become a member?" And we said, "You DM'd us. Congratulations, you're a member."
Yeah.
We actually decided to build a community, meaning we have a virtual space. We
Yeah.
have, lots of introductions, curated meetings, virtual events. I'm doing a little traveling to come around and see members. But
Yeah.
so that's how we started. And we have really, I think it's important to note is that we have really, there's multiple layers to our business. Our global mission is to amplify outstanding executive women, get them in more LinkedIn feeds, on more stages, on more podcasts, and sharing their authentic voices, really talking about the woman behind the title. That's for everyone.
Right.
Like you're probably a follower. Like we have everybody can be a follower of that mission. We can believe in that mission. That's for everyone. And then what lies underneath is the executive membership for women who want to go a little bit deeper with that.
Yeah.
And so that's who we are and what we do. And it really is, like I said, it's a passion project that turned into a business. Melissa and I are both full-time on it now, which is amazing that I wake up every day and get to do something I'm passionate about. So it's
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it's interesting the way you described it, and it's almost like it found you in a way. But years ago, I worked for one of the first community software companies. Right, we were selling a community package, and then people would build their community around it. And it was fascinating to me, because some of them would take off, just go, and then others would struggle, and they kind of, they had the same playbook, right? These are the things we're going to do to create community engagement, but in some cases they don't, in some cases they do. What do you think it is? Is it the topic? Is it the people? Is it a combination of things?
It's probably a combination of things. Like one of the things that, because between being the VP of member success at a very large community and then going out on my own, I think a lot of people, what they do is they build a community, but they don't actually spend time on the strategy. Like who would be the members? What are their personas? What problems can I solve for them? What problems can I solve for them that other communities don't solve for them? And there's always an overarching thesis. Even if I'm a brand community, it's an overarching thesis. It's not about the widget. It's about the problem that you solve. And so really taking time to think about that. But it also does, you do need good community facilitation. Management to me is like, I'm just enforcing rules. It's facilitation. And you need to create the love between the people so that it feels sticky. And that's what I will say a lot is like, you need to find the sticky glue that will keep your members there. And it's usually not what the community first thinks it is.
Right.
And so it takes a lot more digging to kind of figure out what that sticky glue is.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I did that a few years ago, but I've watched communities build, and I think we share a mutual friend, Derek, who wrote Unfair Mindshare.
Oh yeah,
about
Derek.
community.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Derek.
So
Actually,
I
he's one
worked
of
with Derek.
our board members.
Oh,
He's
that I
at
didn't know that.
USA
Yeah.
Women. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's fantastic. When I read his book, he made a lot of really interesting points about community building. One of the things that strikes me nowadays with AI, automations, things like that, I would venture to say more authenticity is most important thing in a community. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's scheduled scope of things, or what's your thing about AI and automation? Do you use it at all?
We we do use AI. I want to use AI in the fact that I want to, like, Melissa and I both have a unique skill set. My brain remembers miscellaneous things about people, which actually makes me a very good connector. It's one of my
Yeah,
superpowers,
yeah,
which also makes me a very good community person.
yeah,
And so, but my brain can only take me so far. And so the AI, what I wanted when we first bought our first platform was the AI to help me um, remember or find those minute details about people. So I could say, Michael needs to talk to Jane. Well, not that Michael would be a member of our community,
yeah,
but Michael needs to talk to Jane because they both love kite surfing
yeah,
or something, like though that's what I want somebody to help me scale that part of
yeah,
my brain. Plus,
yeah,
I'm a menopausal woman with ADHD. Like, give me a break. I can't remember crap.
yeah,
So yeah, that's where I want. I mean, if you go to our website, it says, you always have the bot. There is no bot. It's me
yeah,
and Melissa. We answer and that is something we will always do. Like, if you come
yeah,
to our website and ask a question, we're the bot.
yeah,
We really believe in that authenticity. And honestly, I will tell people this, like, how do you think AI is going to change your business? Like, AI is going to make me much more valuable.
yeah,
Because the skills that I have and Melissa have, and the ability to create rapport and make relationships and make connections has become even more important.
yeah,
And so let everybody go do all their AI stuff. I will use it to help me be more
yeah,
efficient,
yeah.
but
I like.
the person never stops.
Yeah, I like that too. And I'm a big user on LinkedIn, and I'm a little saddened by where the community is going on LinkedIn, because I think automation is kind of flooding it right now. But it doesn't take long to sort out the authentic people versus a script or something like that. It just, I know it may catch up at some point, but right now it's so obvious that it's frustrating, I think. But that's the world we live in, and that's
Yes.
good that we can connect. So, but what about that? So when you think about posts or things that you need to do and to engage the community, what's the motivation, or how do you kind of plan it? Because it's really about habits, right? You may have
Mhm.
certain days that you mentioned you highlight a woman on every Wednesday, so that's a
Mhm.
habit. But
Right.
how else are you involving habits in the overall community management?
Yeah, and I think that's like in community world, they'll talk about habits and rituals.
Hmm.
And that's one thing I think, I will just be honest, we need to do better at, like, coming up with the rituals that are part of our community.
Yeah.
One of the rituals is we do, and this happens in our dinners, which is not a community only thing, is that we talk about gives and gets. And a lot of people talk about gives and gets. We just reverse it, and we ask the women for a get first. And
Ah,
so we will start off many calls with, like, what's your get? Creating that neural connection. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, I need help in this area, whether it's personal or professional. It might be big or small. I will guarantee you, in a room of even 24 women, there's someone else that can help you.
yeah,
And so that's one of our rituals and habits that we do within there. But we could do definitely better on that. And then as far as posting, luckily I have a social media person who,
oh, there you go.
oh yes, yes, yes. That was the first, because I was in charge when we first started. Melissa made the carousels, and myself was supposed to remember to post on Wednesdays at a reasonable time. I'm like, as soon as we get $1, like every
Yeah.
time we made $100, I'm like, we're $100 closer to hiring Yelena. You know what I mean? So I need to get this off my plate.
Yeah.
I still do my personal post, but she does
Yeah.
all of our other social.
That's great. That's great. And you started, when you introduced yourself, first as a family, around your family and mother. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about that. I mean, you don't have to talk about necessarily your kids, but just how do you handle the entrepreneurship and 3 kids?
Yeah. I think at this point of my life, it's much easier. Like I'm on the other side of what so many of the women that I work with and talk to are. However, I did start my first business when my daughter, that my previous employer changed their, this was back in 2000. My
Yeah.
previous employer changed their maternity leave policy or whatever. It used to be you could just bring your baby to work. They changed that while I was on maternity leave. I said, well, screw you. I'll just start my own business. So 5 months old, I had a baby on a hip. It was basically a virtual, still a virtual business. I was like a broker of food and feed ingredients. And so phone, fax, and modem. And 5 months old, and I had 2 more kids after that. And I honestly just did the best that I could. I mean, I was taking PO numbers and writing them on a diaper with a crayon. And I had my BlackBerry, and I thought I was all that. And I will, here's what I'll tell it's like almost everyone is, I'll say this often, and then they're like, oh, that's okay, that's fine. I always felt like a half-ass mom and a half-ass worker. I as a founder, I always felt that way. I'm like, I could be doing better at my work. I could be better at doing a mother, but I think that's also like ambitious women, ambitious people feel, I don't know that I'd ever say I was 100% at something. Right. But then that's how I always felt. And so when I talk to like other women that are doing that and they're feeling that way, I'm like, oh, that's totally normal. Yeah. Everyone feels like that. And and the fact that you feel like that just means you're a great mom. It's like when they say this, if you talk to a psychologist and say, I wonder if I'm a narcissist, they're like, well, you're not, because no narcissist ever thinks they're a narcissist. Yeah. Like that's the easy diagnosis.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think you're right. That's interesting, and it's when you talked about the gets with your group and your community. When you talk about that, you also mentioned kind of a small ripple philosophy, but there's some big ripples in a women's career or arc, right? There's menopause, there's children, there's when the children are young versus when they're teenagers and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of ripples in that lifestyle. I mean, so I'm guessing your community has people in all of those stages, but do you have groups that support each of those kind of topics, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, not quite yet. We don't have groups. We're still very small. We just launched in May as far as our formal community. But like we have a woman in our community that's a coach for executive women in parenting. We do member-led sessions, and it's all based on what the members want to talk about. So we've done time management. We have done negotiation. We also are going to be doing some parenting ones. There's going to be a menopause one. There's going to be thinking about having children, and do I get on or off the career path? I mean, these are things that people talk about in our dinners. Like we've talked about IVF, we've talked about freezing eggs, we talked about what happens if I get off the path, all this kind of thing. So it's like we've all, I think, traveled. What we say in our community is like, because it's for women who have had a VP or equivalent title in the past, because a lot of women have like, I'm just going to do my own thing. And so we've all traveled a very similar path to get where we've gone. But then everybody else is a little bit different, and all in different stages of life. And I think people really appreciate to hear, those different things. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's still, I mean, I know I don't want to get political or anything like that, but it feels like there's still more resting on the women's shoulders than the men's. I mean, and men have different things, but it still feels like I don't know if it's more obstacles or perceived obstacles, it's still not equal. That's what I'm saying, right?
No. And that's why you mentioned the ripple. That's one reason why Melissa and I said, what could we do? Because we thought about like, can we, you think about making change. Yeah. The change of women, and like there's pay disparity and extra pay disparity for women of color. There's all these things that need to be changed. And I will tell you some of the stories that I've heard, Michael, you would literally say, I cannot literally believe that happened. Yeah. So that is like a very large challenge. And as a single person, one human on the earth, it feels very overwhelming to tackle. And so that's why we said we're going to post one woman a week. We will make a ripple, because we believe that and all of us can make a ripple of some sort in whatever we're passionate about. and the one ripple will eventually turn into a wave. And
Yeah.
that's what like kind of keeps me centered and makes me still feel very positive about the work that we're doing, despite that, and there is a lot of feeling right now and a lot of unease within the women we work with, because the world is changing,
Yeah.
and it's oftentimes not changing in a positive favor for women right now. And so, but you know what? But we'll go do our one thing. We'll do our ripple. We'll shine the spotlight on a woman. Let's make her feel fabulous today. Let's show an example to a woman coming up, etc. So.
Yeah. And now, are your children involved in the community at all? Do they participate?
No, my oldest is 25.
Yeah.
She is a double bass player and Irish fiddler, and she's very much into music. She is doing things like that a lot of our women want to do. She's already on her first nonprofit board
Wow.
at 25. And so it's like an International Society of Bassists. So it's not like, a little tiny one. It's a big global one. My youngest actually is 19. She's a sophomore, a swimmer at UCSD, and she is our intern. She decided that she had time to stay on with us, so she helps us with some things. But she went to college knowing HubSpot, Slack, Airtable, and all this stuff. And if I make a post or something, she'll repost it on her own LinkedIn feed. I'm like,
Nice.
oh, look at you go, girl! She's got 500 followers on LinkedIn. I'm like, you have more than a lot of people I know.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
And my son, I tried to hire him as an intern, but I had to fire him because he just wasn't good. I make our youngest. She actually has an employment contract. So
good.
There's no whatever. If you're a worker, you're a real worker.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And so that's wonderful. And are they following in your footsteps? Are they entrepreneurial, or do they want to go the corporate route, or don't know yet? Probably.
My husband is super corporate. Like, he's FP&A, big multinational companies. Like, if it fits it, like, we are so polar opposite. I'm like gray all day. No black and white for me. If your answer is no, it just means no, not right now. I'm gonna ask you later. He is, if it doesn't fit in the spread, it's the cells do not line up.
Yeah.
Life is off. Kind of thing. And so I think I don't know. I think my daughter, my oldest, is obviously entrepreneurial, because as a musician, you kind of need, you always have more of what we would call in corporate life, a portfolio career. My youngest wants to be a lawyer. So I think she'll go that way. And I think my son will probably be some type of founder of something someday, but I don't know what, and I don't think he knows what, but he has ADHD and dyslexia. So he's always been like, I remember when he was 6, I said, the things that are making you so annoying at 6, like the questioning and the thinking outside the box. I'm like, I don't need you to think outside the box. I need you to get your shoes on. I'm like, the things that made him so annoying as a 6-year-old, I'm like, are going to make you such a great CEO one day. And so I would just have to reframe it in my mind and be like, okay, these are positive things. These are positive things.
Yeah.
So yeah, they might run a little bit that way, but we'll see. They're off to build what works best for them.
That's what it's about.
Do you have kids? Do you have kids?
I do. I have a 28-year-old son who did not go into the business world. He's a journeyman electrician. He's doing great. He's out in Fort Worth building schools is what he primarily their company primarily focus on. And the daughter's in getting her master's at Texas Women's University. So she's almost out of, and she wants to be a counselor.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
I've got 2 women in my life that would probably love your community. One's a teacher at Hockaday, and then the daughter who's up at TWU. So I will make sure they know that. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. But so you mentioned ADHD. We had a few months ago, I don't remember when, we had a CEO from Fringe, which they sell benefits to not to schools, to companies, just alternative benefits for, well-being, all that learning opportunities, things like that. He was a great guest, and he was talking about his ADHD. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you navigate ADHD and still be an entrepreneur and a parent and all the other things?
Okay. That's a thing. That's a real thing. Interestingly enough, I was not diagnosed with ADHD until I was 50. It turns out there's a high correlation of like the drop in estrogen in a woman's brain. And a lot of women are diagnosed later on in life because of that. My son, we got him diagnosed at 6. I did I researched everything. I mean, I read every book. I took him. He's also incredibly intelligent and dyslexic. So like if people are familiar with the term twice exceptional. So you're like gifted and have a learning disability or learning difference. We flew to the foremost expert in the world to have the evaluation and all of this kind of thing. So it's not like I was ignorant on ADHD. I never thought it never crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten a new therapist, and she's like, every challenge you're telling me is the sign of ADHD in an adult woman. I'm like, huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. She's like, you probably should try to see about getting diagnosed. And so I went and had dinner with my friends not long after that. And I said, my therapist told me that she thinks I have ADHD. They're like, you didn't know? Yeah. I'm like, okay, I thought we were friends. How come you didn't tell me before now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, okay. And so like the things that and as I look back now, like when I was a kid, I could not sleep. My brain was always moving. It was 3 a.m. and I'm still trying to like breathe through like my brain to fall asleep and things like that. You're of the age, you will remember a day timer planner, that I would carry around. It was in a nice leather folder. I had all my credit cards in it. It was my purse. Like everything was written down in there, the tasks, the list, the everything. And I think to a certain point I could manage everything. I had come up with my own coping strategies to get around it. And then this time, I think also being a consultant. So like I had 2 or 3 clients. I also had my own business. I had kids at home. It was just more than I could actually handle. Yeah. And there are listeners out there, they'll know this, like the procrastination, the feeling of overwhelm. It's like, so for me, it's like I had to push myself to the absolute limit. Like I can do amazing things at 3 a.m. with 5 hours left to a deadline. But give me 3 weeks and I'm like, nope, no, way too early to start that. Which then pushing the procrastination that far then creates anxiety, which creates the overwhelm. Then for me, creates shutdown. Which creates more anxiety and all the things. And so, so now I'm still on my journey. I mean, it's been a couple, maybe I was over 50, but, I'm still on my journey. I have, I take medicine. That is helpful.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
I do. Oh yeah, I do. I definitely take medicine. He's like, oh, you do? I can't tell from this interview, but you
no. But what's
I'm just joking.
I get it when because my son is ADHD and he's on medication, but we saw that when he was younger, not when he's 50. So it just struck me as that makes sense. But
no, I'm on medication. I'm getting I've done a lot of, as you talk about habits, like I've not a great habit, but a habit as far as it's continued throughout the years. I've meditated for like 1,200 minutes this year, and that really helps me calm and center my brain. So, and that's better than like, again, see, this is my absolute mindset. It's like, well, it's kind of a habit, but it is a habit, and it's better than the 0 minutes I meditated the year before. So like, that is something that I'm doing, but I also need more support. And so I'm finding a new therapist. She's also like an ADHD coach kind of therapist. So like I need to talk about the whys and all that stuff. Sure. But I really need tactical, like accountability and these, like you said, these habits. I have my Pomodoro timer. Yes. I carry it around with me. I never use it. I bought Atomic Habits, but it's so overwhelming to even like read it. I get overwhelmed and I'm like, I can't do all these things. And I close the book. So I just know that I need more practical support. And so that's my journey right now. And that starts like next week.
That's exactly why I wrote Time Bandit. It was how do you apply all the science there? And I use 2 concepts, the Eisenhower matrix for priority management. Just know sometimes just knowing you can schedule something to later removes it from your mind in a good way. Right. And then focus on what you need to focus on, and then habit tracking. And I think it can be overwhelming, but you don't do 1,200 minutes of meditation without getting to a habit of some kind, unless you really just dedicated to it. But I love the meditation piece, and maybe I did earlier in life in some other way, but now I think it's so important. Just movement, meditation, and moderation are the 3 things that I really try to help people on, because and meditation is such a powerful tool to just to slow down and take a pause and kind of reset. It's such an important thing. And you don't, it's not always like with your legs crossed and, and humming. It's anything that can help you get there. And that mindset just kind of release. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Mine
awesome.
is deep breathing. It usually happens in the car in the morning after I've driven through Starbucks, and I'll sit in the parking lot for a few minutes and just have some moments of calm and quiet. And then the sound is better because it's in my car, and then my husband's not looking at me like, and then coming to talk to me like, "Are you meditating?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am. So go away." So it's just like that's my more likely time to meditate. But yeah, I can tell a difference in my mindset. If the people that you work with are like, if they're high achieving, they're fast moving, it's like my brain is always going, like, even to stop and notice something. I'm like, oh, wait, there's a nest in my tree with baby birds. I never noticed that, and you just are always going.
That's exactly right. And even sometimes just feel your feet on the ground, or, your heels in your shoes if you were standing in a line in an airport or something, just to get reset. But so I want to go back to now I'm kind of feel like I'm following your pattern here, but I want to go back to something you said about you're getting together with women that are part of your team, and you talk about the gets. What are could you summarize 1 or 2 or 3 big gets that you keep hearing over and over that women are looking for these days?
Well, the first thing I will tell you is when I say we're going to do gets, I do tell them usually in advance that we're going to do it. I send them an email or 2.
Yeah.
But they're like, "Oh my God, I feel very anxious right now." Like asking, they're like, "Oh, I don't know." Like they can't think of something. A lot of the women that we work with, they are thinking about visibility, because visibility equals opportunity. So it's like, I would like to be on more podcasts, just like I think how we met. I made a get on LinkedIn. I said, I want to be on more podcasts this year. I made the post. I got booked on 6 podcasts. Yahoo. So that's what I tell other women to do too. I'm like, just make a post, ask to be on podcasts. So a lot of women are looking to be on more podcasts. They're looking to, increase their stage presence. Some are just looking for friends. Like in Seattle, there's a woman that just moved here 6 months ago. It's her, I guess there was a beautiful spring, and now it's about to be, the dark season. And she's like, I just want to meet people. I want people will you just invite me to the things that you do? And that was her get. Sometimes it's, so it could be just like, I want to meet more friends. I want to meet more professional women. It could be also like business wise, like, women moving into their own businesses. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm building my own business. So I would love to meet CEOs that do X or have this, challenge. So it could be business related. Or it could be something super tactical. It's like, I'm working on my first board presentation. Will someone look at my slides?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It could be any of those things.
Yeah. And it's nice that you're given an opportunity to ask that without feeling overwhelmed, even though some of them may feel overwhelmed asking for that. But it's great for that community. So I'm guessing that, do they find you on LinkedIn and then get to the community, or do they just look up Wednesday Women and find your community, or how are members finding you?
Yeah. Well, we are not doing very good. We're not doing much marketing of it right now. It's mostly word of mouth and referral. We have these followers, and so people that have been following this for a long time, they kind of understand the vibe. And we'll mention membership, and I'm talking about going around to meet members. And people are like, oh, well, tell me more. And then, they'll decide if it's a good fit for them. I think you probably have the same experience. There are different communities for different stages of your life. There are different communities for different needs, whether it's a learning community or more of a connection community, and like finding your right community home or homes, because some people have more than one community home. So we have a lot of conversations, and, if it makes sense for someone, then, it's just, you have to have had that VP plus title at some point or equivalent. I mean, I know a woman who is the senior director of some kind of sales at SurveyMonkey. She has 150 people underneath of her. She has more experience than most VPs of sales of startups that I talk to. And so, it's like that or equivalent, because that's what connects us, that path that we've all walked, despite being in wholly different industries, being public, private, multinationals, to one person starting their individual business.
Yeah.
That's the thing that connects us. So yeah, mostly they'll find us out through, through that, or someone told them, or, we go to a lot of conferences and we host a lot of events. I think for us, it's once people experience a Wednesday Women, this dinner format or the coffee format that we do in person, they get it. They just like, this is what we're talking about. And so, yeah.
That's fantastic. And so I've got one more question for you about the business
Sure.
side of it. And then I want to get to we asked 2 final questions in the end. But I know that I was looking at Wednesday Women's website, and you have sponsors. What is a sponsor doing? What's that about, the sponsorship program?
Yeah. I would say mostly because we are new, we are not a huge community. I don't promise anybody leads or anything like that. So it's mostly they're attracted to the mission.
Yeah.
I would say, I was talking to a woman before this, and, and I think you mentioned this a little bit, but like authenticity, most of the sponsors that come to us, we don't do outbound at this point. They already know, like, and trust us in some capacity. So they're familiar with us personally. And they're like, well, tell me more about that. So, it's that resonating with the mission. And then there's some familiarity, and they may sponsor a dinner. And in that case, they are there, like their executive, woman on their team will be there as a guest. And the goal for them is just to be there as an executive woman. Like, we're there together. And then what happens is they resonate with that woman. And so even though I may not be buying Sendoso right now, maybe I know someone, and I met Patty at dinner, and I'm like, oh my God, Patty's amazing. You should talk to Sendoso. So it's that kind of, it's a brand, that know, like, and trust. I mean, it's really building that up with the women. We do series. So, like, we just finished a series on called Founders in Focus. So focusing on women founders, growth stage women founders, that were at 3 million revenue and above. I will tell you, those are purple unicorns. They are very hard to find. I should not have been shocked how hard they were to find based on the data of VC funding for women, but indeed they were challenging. So, like, a sponsor may sponsor a series like Women in Product, Women in Something. And for example, one of our sponsors is a 30-year-old Nordic company moving to the US. I've known the CMO forever. And so we did a Women in Finance because it helps them with the brand visibility and also the positive association with our brand, and they believe in the mission. For us, one thing that's super important to be able to say is, like, and we'll be doing an announcement Monday for a new partner. We always need to say why. Why am I partnering? Why is Wednesday Women partnering? Because if I cannot say why meaningfully, then I am no longer staying true to the mission. Now, I always put an asterisk. If Salesforce wants to come to me and just give me $1 million to slap their logo on my website, I may not say no. But but in general, I want to be able to say why this company it's important to us to partner with, and we ask them the same thing. So
I think that's right. The community, but also get people in the community that can help lift it. That's fun. That's the way it should be. Yeah. So, okay. I asked two simple questions, but I do have one that I'd like to ask of you.
Oh, please.
So those women that want to be on podcasts, send them our way, because we love talking about various topics. So that's my get. We would open.
I have some amazing women already in mind for you. They have one woman that just ran a time management class or meeting with us. Amazing. I was like, oh, I love all these things, but you name it. Give me personas. I will give you names all day long.
That's perfect. Let's do it. Let's try to get the Women of Wednesday guests coming. So there we go. All right. So the first question is, what is a non-negotiable habit you do every day?
Ooh. See, I'm a really bad person to ask that question.
I thought that was going to be a tough one.
And brush my teeth.
Yep.
I mean,
that is one.
Drink coffee.
There you go.
Drink coffee and brush my teeth. I mean, I'm the worst. I will put time blocks on my calendar and ignore them. I will say I'm going to use my Pomodoro timer to keep myself on track, and I will not do it. I am the worst. I do drink a lot of water. And then I have my morning coffee and I brush my teeth. Those are the things I promise you habits that I will do every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody wrote, you need the Time Bandit app.
Okay.
So,
All right. I'm gonna have to look into it because I am I mean, I swear I think I've, every year I'll buy a new scheduler or meeting thing and all these things, like every new tool that I think is going to help me. And every year I obviously
yes.
need
Yeah.
more enablement. I am just, going to be just vulnerable and say, I need more enablement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, well, that's true. And then the other question I have for you is, I kind of talk about this, that tomorrow's more important than yesterday. And I think your whole mission is about that, right? But
mhm, mhm.
anything you'd like to comment on that?
Tomorrow is more important than yesterday. Um, I mean, I think do I yes, do I believe that? Do I fully believe that? I feel like as long as you learn from something from yesterday,
Hmm. Hmm.
then yes, because I think there are lessons that we have that we need to learn, that are given to us or something.
Yep.
And as
Yep.
long as we take that learning from yesterday into tomorrow, yeah,
Yeah.
because that's where we make the impact. I can't make an impact in yesterday. I can make an impact in tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can make an impact in today. I guess maybe even for me, because I'm a person that has constantly thought of, like, I don't want to say wishing away my life, but I remember as a kid saying,
Yeah.
oh, I can't, when I'm 13, it'll be so much more amazing. When I graduate high school, it'll be so much more amazing. So for me, I
Yeah.
think it's like today is more important than yesterday, and today is actually more important than tomorrow. But
Yeah.
that's also some
Absolutely.
ADHD in there, and you're talking about making habits, and I'm saying, "No, man, let's just talk about today." So, I mean,
And that's fine though. I like that. I mean, when I started contemplating that statement, it was because I think I did a session with a group that was really stuck in yesterday, right? They couldn't get
mm,
out of their way because that's the way they did the things, and this is what we've always done. And I couldn't get them to think of that. And I think anybody that's kind of looking to change, whatever change is for you, you
mhm,
kind of have to start. You gotta focus on what's ahead instead of what's behind you. But I agree with you. You have to learn from mistakes and lessons and all the stuff from behind. So great.
yeah.
That's great. Well, everybody should find you on LinkedIn for sure. Are there other ways that you want to share with them how to find your group? And
Yeah, I mean, WednesdayWomen.org, that is our website. You can find more about our global mission, more about our membership. Our Wednesday Women, follow Wednesday Women on LinkedIn. That's where we put out our content. That's where we share the features of women, the series, things that are going on with us. But yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, just Leslie-Greenwood, and I'm on LinkedIn way too much. My my phone app tells me that regularly. So
yes.
feel free to DM me or chat. I'm always open to connect.
Well, thank you so much for getting up early and sharing your thoughts with us today. I really appreciate it. Get an umbrella, stay dry until you can get back to Texas where you can warm up and dry
Well,
out.
I'm going to Denver next. I'm afraid it's going to be real cold. And we live in Texas. I don't even own a coat.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen there. But thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure. I love this conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. We enjoyed it too. And everybody watching, tune in next week. We're going to talk to Carson, and we're going to talk about the culture of drinking, is particularly in sales, but in general, and what we see with what happens when you give up drinking, if that's your mission. So we'll talk about that next week, and go to timebandit.io to learn